President Trump holding court in the Oval Office right now, telling the press that he's pretty much negotiated a deal with Ukraine on rare earth minerals to end the war there, and that Zelensky might be visiting the White House on Friday. He also announced what he's calling gold cards that will get wealthy foreigners to create jobs in America. Meanwhile, could Sleepy Joe ever do this?
And I heard you were here, and I said, let's stop by and say hello. It's a group of very smart-looking people, I must say. Have fun, everybody.
USA! USA! USA!
President Trump surprising guests during the first White House tour of the year. 47 got that charm and easygoing vibe. No wonder his popularity keeps climbing. A whopping 52% approve of Trump's second term. He's even performing well with key groups he's struggled with at various points. Hispanics, women, and even the burbs are liking what they see. The Democrats, on the other hand, are at the most unpopular they've been in decades. They don't have a Trump, but they do have a raging case of Trump derangement syndrome. And boy, has it got him saying some really weird stuff.
You could pee on my leg, but don't tell me it's rain. And Trump is raining on America.
We are in the middle of a ketamine-fueled, middle-of-the-night, autocratic power grab.
President Trump has been more of a chaos agent over the last few weeks and not shown any interest whatsoever in dealing with the unaffordability.
It's become really hard to have an intellectual debate with any of these people because the level of stupidity that they are displaying every single day is frankly embarrassing.
Are voters having voters' remorse already?
I think so, and it's going to keep building given what he's doing. But chaos is up, corruption is up, and costs are up.
Frank Luntz is telling the Democrats maybe tone down all that resistance stuff.
The Democrats are wrong by talking about resistance because the public doesn't want resistance. They simply want these things done efficiently, effectively, and with accountability.
Do the Democrats have the humility to work with Donald Trump on things the voters want?
Not yet. We'll see. I mean, there might be a few, but they're not stepping up. And certainly, you don't even see it with governors, for example, right? The sanctuary city-states, or the sanctuary states, or the governors who might say, gosh, you know what, education is a really big issue. And I noticed today there was a big protest in Washington, D.C. Who was leading it? The American Federation of Teachers. And if I were Democrats, this would be a great moment for a Democrat to say, oh, no, you're the ones who took all the COVID money and you didn't go to school and you kept schools closed. And now you look at what's happened in our, especially in the blue states. Look what happened in the blue states. Our scores are down for our kids. This is not good enough. This is a civil rights issue of our time. And you could see somebody, I can imagine it. I can just see some Democrat figuring out a way to do this and say education is going to be the way we bring things back. But they are going to have to be willing to buck their own left wing if they were going to do that. I don't see that happening. The other thing is, like on The View, when they're talking to Amy Klobuchar, I don't know what polls they're reading that suggest that voters are getting tired. If you look at anything on immigration, crime, and maybe on the economy, people are saying, oh, what's going on here? But they do feel like the country's going in a much better direction. And when it comes to Republicans, the approval is sky high. And then you go on someplace like The View, and they're trying to apply the standards of a normal person to somebody who said, I'm not going to be a normal president. I'm there to upset the apple cart. And that's what he's doing. And the people seem to like it. So I think Frank Luntz is right. It kind of echoes what James Carville said, which is just slow your roll for a second and get your act together before you make fools of yourselves.
52%, Judge, for a Republican president, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's pretty good. And, it's 70% of the American people who say that he is following through on the promises he made. And the amazing thing, and Dana just referenced this, is the fact that women, independents, Hispanics, and Asians, and the suburbanites that he won in the election, he is maintaining them. So they're looking at President Trump and they're saying they voted for him for this reason. And by gosh, he's actually delivering on what he said he was going to do. But I think that Frank Luntz is right. James Carville is right. Stephen A. is right. You know, this resistance, this constitutional crisis, whatever it is, there is no message in this resistance. There is no policy in this resistance. It's the same old, you know, we've got to just make sure that Trump doesn't succeed. And, you know, it makes no sense when ordinary Americans have to maintain their own checkbook and their own budget, and yet the government doesn't, and we have to pay for it. That's what Americans are seeing. And, you know, for some reason, the Dems just are not getting it. And when you hear Rachel Maddow and Amy Klobuchar, when Rachel Maddow claims there's some kind of, what is it, ketamine-fueled power grab, you know, you think she's talking about Hunter Biden. And then you've got, you know, Klobuchar who talks about chaos and corruption and costs are up. She's describing the Biden years. And they've got nothing else to hang on to. Donald Trump, as we saw him greeting those people as they walked into the White House, unexpected, not expecting to see him. He's a man who's bigger than life, and he makes people feel that he cares about them when he's talking to them, and now he cares about the economy.
Harold, have you seen a Democrat, and you'd say they're doing a pretty good job kind of posting up against Donald Trump?
I'll come back to that. It's good to be back around the table with everybody. I'd say a few things. You're right. I'm not seeing enough of that.
Okay.
I think Dana's point and the judge's point, Democrats shouldn't get upset about it. We should get focused. Resistance is not what the American people want. That's just 2.0 from the campaign. Donald Trump has won the election. We shouldn't be surprised. Most presidents who win elections retain popularity for several weeks as long as they're working towards the things they said they were going to work towards. And the judge is right. He's not a conventional president. People are going to give him greater latitude when it comes to what some may define as chaos because it's Donald Trump. A poll we don't talk a lot about is the poll that Mr. Trump's own pollster, Mr. Fabrizio, has released, where he doesn't show that the president doesn't contradict any of the numbers that we showed, the 52% approval, the 70% for people liking the agenda. What he does show is that 60% of Americans worry about their personal finances. 70% worry that they won't be able to afford groceries over the next several months. 63% think that the tax relief the president's talking about should be targeted towards everyday Americans. So if you're Democrat, Jesse, you get out and you offer substance and ideas and answers around those concerns. Not simple rhetorical resistance. People don't want to hear that. Matter of fact, they rejected that argument from us in November. So let's get more serious. The press conferences, the singing, let's get that out of our system and think about coherence, alternatives, and substance. We get there, we'll make the body politic better, and you never know. We might mess around, win an election in the next year and a half.
Maybe, Greg, but you could see Donald Trump keeping this level of support for a while. I mean, you got the State of the Union coming up. You could do the Ukraine deal in the spring.
No question at all. You know, I got to hand it to Frank Luntz there. He always has the most blunt, thoughtful analysis. But I might add, you know, animals are great, not as a hairpiece. I love Trump greeting the tourists. When Biden would walk out during these White House tours, it was always by accident, and his robe was always open. This is pure Trump. So much has flipped. And it's not left versus right. It's inside and outside. So for the longest time, America has been on the outside of all politics. Only a few precious elites were on the inside. They knew how things worked. They knew where the money went. They knew who got paid, who didn't. So you have this profound transparency where there's guys everywhere, but also this spontaneity of it. Right? It has completely turned the table. So what inside is outside and what outside is inside. Isn't that great? Huh? The Americans are on the inside. Doge is leading the way with its like colonoscope, you know, showing you everything. And as it's showing you everything, you have a constant director's commentary going on, telling you what's behind the scenes. Oh, did you see this? Did you see that? Everybody on the outside, the elites, the bureaucratic rent seekers, they all got their faces planted up against the windows going, no, don't show them that. Don't show them that. That's mine. That's mine. But America is there. America loves this government enema. And we have courtside seats, which is why we should wear tarps. Okay, now I'm going to answer your question about the honeymoon.
Sure.
Honeymoons are always temporary, but I think that in this case, the length of the honeymoon is dictated by the horror that came before. You know, when someone says, you know, I really think Donald Trump is getting ahead of his skis, then you go, do you remember what was going on before? That person couldn't put on his shoes. And they go, all right, I'm good. Let the guy go to work. And what does the guy do? And we're not even surprised by it. He's ending a three-year horrific war where 1 million+ people died. And he's getting us rare earth minerals while he's ending it. And none of us are like going, well, this is a little odd. No, it's like, we finally get it. This is what he does. So let the guy do his job. Don't sit there and stand over him like, you know, you missed a spot. You know?
You know, that's such a great point. The Democrats are running a left-right campaign against a guy running an inside-out campaign. Can they run an inside-out campaign?
No, they can't.
I don't think they can.
No, they can't.
Yeah, because they're the
can't get
ultimate
out.
insiders.
I don't know what that
we
means.
can. We just need a different.
You have
group.
no
We have a
inside
different-
anymore. You're
need some
empty and
alternatives.
hollow, Harold. A hollow shell of a party.
Oh, in your face, Harold.
At least I didn't vote with Russia yesterday in the UN.
Okay, listen. We'll get to that. Maybe. Up next, while Democrats throw a hissy fit over Musk, one of America's biggest CEOs says Doge needed to be done.